So we're gonna try this. I took a look at the documentary Requiem for an American Dream on Netflix today. It is a series of interviews with Noam Chomsky, and he talks about a lot of things that are affecting America today. Certainly check it out if you want to, one, be depressed, two, if you want to be angry, and three, if you want to feel like you can do something about it, which is really why this video is coming about right now and today. Really watching that documentary and listening to Noam Chomsky and seeing what he has done over the years has inspired me to do this right now. The second thing that I wanted to talk about today is something that's been dominating my Facebook feed for the last few days and weeks, is the protests up in North Dakota at the Standing Rock and the Dakota Access Pipeline. I don't know much about it, to be honest, but one of the things that I do know in watching some of the videos and reading some of the news and looking at some of the first-hand accounts, both from the media and from individuals, the protesters, or as they like to be called, the water protectors that are up there. It's really, really disheartening to see how citizens of the United States are being treated by the police. It is disheartening. It is disgusting. When you look at the pictures, when you look at the video, when you read those accounts, when you listen to those accounts, it is hard to believe that the police, the military, the government, state and federal, are all against these people. I know that I'm putting myself out there in my circle of friends and my community by speaking up about this issue. This is something that cannot go unnoticed. Listening to the Native Americans and how they are standing up for the rights of the environment, for their rights as a people, to protect their lands, to protect our lands. And no one is doing anything to help. It's despicable all the way around. Just no one is doing anything about it. There was a video that I saw today of some New Zealanders who flew up and visited and were at the protests, and they performed a haka. Powerful form of speech. And so these individuals, there were 6 of them, Māori, came up from New Zealand and performed a haka in front of the police as a form of protest and a form of support with their native people, brothers and sisters of America. And it was powerful to watch. It was very powerful to see and to listen to an individual who organized this trip coming up from New Zealand to America to stand together. And that's something powerful. It's not something that you see every day. It's a powerful, very motivating, inspiring act. The third thing that I wanted to talk about is fear. That was one of the things that I saw in the documentary with Noam Chomsky, and it's something that I saw and many of us saw throughout the election cycle, is just this culture of fear that we live in. Pondering the idea of how we can work on this fear. What is that fear? We should all take a second and stop, and when we feel afraid, when we have those feelings of fear, we need to recognize that we have those feelings and then ask ourselves why we have those feelings. And I think in lots of cases we just take the fear right away, whether it's the fear of the unknown, fear of others with a capital O, because lots of times it's probably something innocuous or very little that is driving that fear. We haven't met the person that we're afraid of. We haven't encountered the situation that we're afraid of. There are lots of things that we can be afraid of, but there are very few things that we should actually be afraid of. And I think that we really need to do a better job of addressing fear in our culture. I think we really have a chance in our culture right now, in America and in the world, to take a look at why we are afraid and to really come together as a people. Back after 9/11, I remember being interviewed by the newspaper in Mason City at that time. I remember being asked what I thought would happen, and I don't believe I had a unique perspective on this. I think a lot of people had the same perspective. I had the perspective that I thought that we would come together, that as a people, we in the United States, American citizens, and people around the world will come together and to work through these issues. And it really turned out to not be true. It turned into a culture of fear, and it turned into a culture of fear that has lasted for the last 15 years. And it's disheartening. I thought that we were past this, thought that we could move forward, but I think what this election has shown us, and the election of President-elect Donald Trump, is that fear is a powerful motivator. You can put in all the Star Wars metaphors you want right here. Fear is very powerful. Our politicians know how to use it right now for the wrong reasons. So I want us to take a look at our own fears, to take a deeper look at those fears, but also take a look at the fears that our politicians are pandering to us and that they are offering us, to really take a look at the fear that they are stoking in all of us, in our communities, and in us individually, in our neighbors. Why do they want us to have that fear? Why do they want us to be afraid? You should be asking yourselves that, and more importantly, you should be asking your representatives why they're afraid. That being said, that's the end of this video. Wearing the Hawkeye hat, 1, because I'm having bad hair day, 2, because I was outside when it was raining, and 3, celebrating the Hawkeye win over Nebraska this weekend.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Who's eating camera gear? Oh!